All right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's webinar session brought to you by ThinkyHearts, and it's titled Demystifying Solar Hybrid Solutions from Basics to Business Impact. My name is Itunolu Adamsi, and I'll be your moderator for this insightful session. And on behalf of ThinkyHearts, I'm delighted to have everyone here. I hope that you learn. I hope that your notes are ready and you're ready to write out all the nuggets and everything we'll be getting from this session. Thinky Heart is an African rooted initiative advancing sustainability, inclusive learning, and circular economic transformation. Through tools, content, and real world partnerships, we develop eco education resources, we green innovation projects, we lead waste to wealth projects, we host webinars like this, and even many more. We host learning labs, we support change makers across schools, homes, and communities. Our work is focused on empowering educators, youth, parents, students, NGOs, and professionals to turn meaningful ideas into practical impact. Follow us on LinkedIn to stay updated on our upcoming sessions and insights. And you should also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Today, we are honored to have Chisom Okoye. She is the Business Development Manager at Solar Hybrid Power JMG Limited with us today. She'll be taking us through the fundamentals of solar hybrid systems and, more importantly, how these solutions are transforming business operations and energy in the nation.
Oh,
To you.
wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Itinuolua. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Thinky Hearts, for having me here. It's a privilege to be here to speak with everyone. And I do hope, as we have heard, that the session is, not just enlightening, but we really live with a desire to want to now include solar hybrid solutions in our own businesses or homes, and perhaps also, stir up a motivation to be a player in the renewable energy sector in Nigeria. So once again, thank you so much, everyone, and excited to be here. Okay, so we'll just begin. Awesome. So hi again, everyone. Good afternoon. First of all, let me say I'm really honored to have you guys here. I know for some of us, if not most of us, this is our lunch break, our lunch time, and you've chosen to spend your lunchtime with us, with me, with Thinky Heart. So thank you so much. And just as we have already introduced, the topic for today is demystifying solar hybrid solutions from basics to business impacts. And once again, my name is Chisom, and I currently work as a business development manager for solar hybrid solutions at JMG Limited. So, a bit of a disclaimer before we begin. This is not a technical session, so don't worry in case this may just be your first time learning about solar hybrid systems. It's not a technical session. We're not going to be quoting Ohm's law or things like that here. No, this is purely from a business development perspective. So the benefits of solar to you as an individual and to you as a business owner. And just to give you a bit of insight, into the business side of things and how to look at solar systems beyond the technicality. Okay. Right. So I'm going to begin with what I call my oopsie story. My oopsie story. Right. So when I first started working in this sector, in this industry, pretty much for the commercial and industrial space. So the commercial and industrial space basically just stands for hospitals, industries, plazas, mall. So businesses that are commercial and industrial, large scale. Right. So when I first started working in this space, dealing with commercial and industrial solar, so large scale solar that is beyond just your home solution. And that was really my introduction to understanding what a solar hybrid system is. For most of us here, and likewise myself, the description or the definition of solar that I knew was primarily, my home solution, right? We know solar as a backup solution for our homes. Most cases, people just get the inverters and the batteries, and then you charge your batteries with your AEDC if you're in Abuja, with your NEPA generally, as we say, You charge your batteries, and then when there's no lights and you don't feel like turning on your generators, that's when you now rely on your backup system, right? But then we upgraded. So people now started adding solar panels to their homes as well, to provide an additional layer of charge for the battery so that your home can run full functional during the day and even at night without having to take any power from your grid or your NEPA or your generator, as the case may be. So very simple, right? Very simple. But then when I got into the commercial industrial space, I learned that there are actually different types of solar systems beyond the traditional system that we know. Right here, I have three images on my screen. The first one, it says apples are not equal to pears. There's a popular quote, that talks about comparing apples to pears. I mean, on the surface, they look, you should be able to tell the difference. Apples are not pears, right? But I'll be honest, sometimes they do look alike, but then you need to know that apples are not pears. Similarly, as well, there is what we call daytime solar, and then there's what we call solar with storage. Now, the solar with storage is the one that most of us should be familiar with. The daytime solar, not so much. And that's where my story now actually begins. I had a client meeting as a business development manager. I wanted to, get this company, it was a school at the time, to add solar to the energy mix. Oh, it's going to save you cost. It's going to put you one among the companies that are prioritizing their ESG goals, your global facing company. And the customer was like, oh, okay, I mean, I like this idea. So with this solution now that you're telling me, right, it can run on its own. I don't need my NEP, I don't need my generator. With my full chest, I said, yes, 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 you don't need it. I was like, let's go for it. And this, you're telling me this is going to be the estimated cost to my business. I said, yes. Say no more. Chisom, let's proceed. And only for me to, I think the next day I went back, to the office, trying to put things together, the usual processes or steps that we take that we'll get into later on. And then I had a chat with my manager and realized that I had told him the wrong thing because I had completely misunderstood the system myself. I had told the client that a daytime only solution will provide him power when his NEPA or diesel generator will not be available, and that is not the case. So now, with this my story, and while you're here, what should be your expectation, or what will I really want you to leave here with? So we're just going to cover basic definitions, solar hybrid systems, daytime only, solar with batteries. So how do you now choose the one that works for you? What is a business strategy? How should businesses really look at this? Remember, this is from basics to business impact. What are some of the common mistakes so you don't make the mistake that I made? Or imagine if I didn't get that clarity and I had sold that solution to that client, it would have been a major mistake on the client's part. So what are the things we need to do to get it right? How do we get it right? And what is the bigger picture? What is the bigger picture? And I really do hope that at the end of this session, you leave here, being confident that you can advise someone on how to make the right decision, how to choose the right solar solution for their facility or their business. So now we begin. The basics. I just have a simple image here. It shows you how the solar system works. You have the sun, the panels, controllers, batteries, inverters, and then you power your electrical appliance or you power your house. Essentially, solar is basically just generating power from the sun, which is such a fantastic technology. I mean, I can just think about when this was discovered, being able to generate electricity from the sun. It would have, and it was, quite a groundbreaking discovery. Something that we have we have it for free, as the case may be. We have the sun for free. All we just need to do is harness it, and we have power, unlimited power, right? So that's basically what a solar system is, generating power from the sun. Now, what are the key components of a solar solution? I already just mentioned them based on the picture here. You have your solar panels, your batteries, your inverters, charge controllers. So you have a combiner box. There are different components, as the case may be, but the primary one is the panels, batteries, and inverters. Those are the three primary components that we know that make up a solar solution. Now, is this solar solution a one size fits all? I'm sure we can say no based on the story that I started with, right? Now you can probably tell, oh, wow, solar is solar. If I want solar, I can just call the solar company. I can just call my friend that has a business. I want solar, come and give me. You can just come and put it. It's actually not a one size fits all. There are three broad categories of solar. So you have the on grid, which is your daytime solar. You have your off-grid, which is your solar with storage that's set as a standalone, and then you have your hybrid solar system, more or less a mocktail. So you get the benefits of the daytime only and the storage systems together. So I'll just repeat that again. We have three types of solar systems: on-grid or your daytime solar, off-grid or your solar with storage, the one that can stand alone. You don't need to be connected to your NEPA or anything else. No, you don't need it. And then you have a hybrid, which is a beautiful mocktail or a beautiful mix of the on-grid and the off-grid. Now, the daytime only solar. We're going to be looking at how it works, its advantages, its limitations, and who exactly it is best suited for. Because we have the daytime only solar for a reason. If the daytime only solar was not or is not beneficial at all, we wouldn't have that option, right? So there are certain instances, scenarios, and cases that the daytime only solar is best suited for. But now, before we get to that, so how does daytime only solar works? Daytime only solar, just as the name implies, is solar that you can only use during the day. So you can only get power from this solution during the day. Once the sun goes down or night falls, we can't get power from that solution anymore. No electricity will be generated from that solution anymore until the next day when the sun comes back up. Now, because of this peculiarity, this daytime only solar requires a reference voltage and it does not store energy for later because there are no batteries. Now, the basic concept of the daytime only solar is you just have your solar panels and your inverter, and this is just going to feed power directly into your distribution board, distribution box, into your home, into your business, into your facility. That's just the way it works. It's typically just integrated with your existing source of power. Now, the second point here says requires a reference voltage. This may sound a little bit technical, but the simple explanation just means that the daytime only solar cannot work on its own. It just can't work on its own. It needs to have another source of power for it to work. And yes, in case you have the same question in your mind, like I had the first time I learned this as well, I had someone literally ask me, so why will I get solar? What's the point of me getting solar if I still have to run my generator or I still have to run my NEPA so I can use the solar? It does not make sense now. Chisom, explain to me. Why will I want to buy solar? But for me to use solar, I must have lights. So if I don't have lights, that's the concept of the daytime only solar. Okay, that's the concept of it. And it is like that because, okay, I'm sorry, I know I said it's not going to be technical, but I'll just try and explain this just so we have that understanding for those of us who may not have it. Right. Now, I started off by explaining the systems that we're familiar with in our homes, the standard concepts, the solar panels, inverters, your batteries that provides power. Now, in that design, the battery, right, we're going to come to that next, but just so we have a better understanding here, the battery serves as a reference voltage. So the battery is what is what enables the current that will be coming from the solar panels to flow into your home or into your facility or into your business. And that's why you can have a solar solution that will stand alone with batteries. Now imagine you remove the one component, right, that is going to be able to drive this electricity to power your home. There's a gap. The energy will just be there, electricity will be there, but it will just be dormant. You'll just be sitting down, looking at you. You're looking at me, I'm looking at you. That's Spider-Man name, right? For those of us who know it, you're looking at each other. So you're not moving anywhere. So in order for that electricity to now move, you need to have another reference voltage. And that reference voltage will have to come from your existing grid connection, NEPA as the case may be in Nigeria, or your generator set, either your DG or your gas generator or your gas or your GG, your gas generator, right? So that's how it works. What are the advantages? Well, the primary advantage of the daytime only solution is it has lower upfront costs. As you can see, if you needed three components, at least three components, solar panels, inverters, and batteries, now you've taken off one component, imagine your cost will be less, right? So your upfront cost is going to be less. So one advantage of daytime only solar is your upfront cost is lower compared to the solution that has batteries. Okay. Now another advantage is you're actually able to reduce your grid or diesel consumption when the sun is up. Like I said, this only works when the sun is up. So the minute the sun is up during the daytime, as that's the term we like to call it, during the daytime, you're able to reduce your grid or your diesel consumption. Perhaps maybe if we have time or maybe during the Q&A session, I can break this down just so we stick to the time we have allotted for the presentation. Right, because I had said before that this daytime only solution needs to run concurrently with your grid and your generator, right? So how is it going to save me costs? Please, you can just type that question in the comment box. We'll get back to it, okay? Another advantage, this is great for businesses that run only during the day. So if typical 9 to 5, you run an office and your staff just work, come in the morning, everything shuts down by 5 p.m. You don't need to, spend so much getting a backup for later at night, because later at night there will be no operation. So this is great for businesses that run solely during the day. And as with many great things, as there are advantages, so also we have limitations. Now, the very obvious limitation, like we already identified, is it is not a standalone system. You can't use this on its own. You must have either NEPA or generator on site for this to work. It's not a standalone system, And when the sun goes down, the energy stops flowing as well. Electricity stops flowing. So the minute the sun goes down, or there's a day, a massive thunderstorm just comes and dark clouds just come and cover everywhere, your energy is going to drop drastically. So you only get power when the sun is up, and it is dependent on grid and generator. So who is this best suited for? We already said it's for businesses that are located with areas that have preferably reliable grid, and we'll come to that, when we answer that question and I ask someone to put in the chat box. When we answer that question, you see why this solution is actually best suited for businesses or factories or facilities or industries in locations that have reliable grid. And their operations are quite predictable. Like I said, it's 9 to 5, just the daytime only. Now, but what is the key takeaway from this solution? So daytime only solar is cost effective. Like I said, where you would have spent money on 3 main components, now you're only getting 2 components. So think about it that way. Before you would have bought 3 components, now you're buying 2. So you're saving that upfront cost, right? Your capex is lower as compared to the normal PV battery solution. But then remember that this cannot be a replacement for other power sources. It must run concurrently with another source. Now to the wonderful, or should I say most popular, most common type of solution, which is solar with storage. So this is now your solar with the batteries, your solar panels, inverter batteries, and every other component that makes it really nice and juicy. How does it work, right? So during the day, the panels generate power. So panel generate power. There's direct injection actually in this during the day. And then the same power from the panels also charges your battery for the time when there'll be no more direct injection. So in this case, the energy does not have to be consumed while it is available. You can actually store for nighttime or for cloudy days, when the sun is no longer up. So during the nighttime, you can now begin to power a facility with your batteries, right? This one operates as a true standalone system. You can have a house in the middle of nowhere and you just put this full solution, and fantastic, it works and it runs perfectly. Advantages, you're able to get reliable 24/7 power supply. Now this is dependent on the design, which is another conversation entirely. Making sure that your design is accurate, right? So we have reliable power supply. It reduces your dependence on your NEPA and your diesel generator. In fact, in most cases, you don't even need them, and it provides you some sort of energy security, right, for critical operations. So if something comes up at night, you wouldn't have to start worrying, oh my gosh, I don't have power from my solar anymore because the daytime is over. Now, just as I said before, as with most great things, there are certain limitations or certain cons. Now, this one, the upfront cost is higher, the initial capex is higher. So the money you have to invest upfront is higher because you're getting like the full components, right? Where with daytime only solar, your only focus is on two two primary components amongst other components, I beg your pardon, which is your solar panel and your inverter. Here, you're getting solar panels, inverter, and batteries amongst other components that require for the system to work. So of course, that capex, that upfront cost is going to be higher, and your batteries will require maintenance and periodic replacements, which is something else that I really hope that that those of us in the space, solar experts, I believe now we're really beginning to understand and explain this to our clients. Because at first, I'll share this quickly. At first, when solar came into Nigeria, people ran for it, but then people started saying solar does not work. I bought battery from one guy. This guy, he told me that the guy talk say I use battery, I feel use in 2 years. 6 months only, the thing don't buy. People started doubting solar. So many things, solar does not work. No, inverter does not work, battery does not work. Forget that thing, Joe. Is because then at the time the knowledge was not so clear that your batteries require maintenance and periodic replacements. Just like your phone. I like using this example. You have your phone. If you plug your phone 247 and you allow your phone to keep charging, you don't allow that battery discharge. You keep your phone outside under heat, no aeration. Your phone battery will swell and your phone will get bad. That's just to paint the picture. Okay. Now, this solution is best suited for businesses that run round the clock. So, if you know you require 24/7 power, or you have operations at night, this is best suited for you. Hospitals, industries with critical load, and night operations, right? Now, for this one, I put something at the bottom. It says, while this comes with higher initial cost, this solution, solar with storage, it offers an assurance of power independence, right? So you don't have to rely on NEPA, like I said. You don't have to rely on PHCN, on AEDC, on Eco Disco, on Ikeja Disco, on EEDC, or even Kaduna or Kano Disco. You don't need to rely on any other source. This gives you some sort of power independence, and which is truly a game changer for mission critical operations. So now the question is, this or that. So which one should I go for? Data, money, solar, solar with storage. And you see, I titled this slide "This or That" / hybrid. Hybrid, like I said in the beginning, is a mocktail. So you can choose data only, you can choose solar with storage, or you can decide to get the best of both worlds. Best of both worlds. Now, just a quick reminder, this is basically just to summarizing what we just discussed. Data money solar strictly due sunlight hours, lower upfront cost, it needs a reference voltage, it's not suitable if you need power after sunset, Solar with storage, it provides power day and night. It's ideal for critical facilities. It cuts your diesel dependency and even grid dependency. Like you may not even need to be connected to the grid at all. However, we know that the primary con is that it has higher upfront investments just due to the batteries. And just to mention that, that the batteries actually are the most expensive component of the solar solution. Right. So I said matching the right solution to the right need is where real impact lies. And for business development managers, if you're seeking to get solar for your business, I want you to not think about solar as just, okay, let me just do it now. You help me. Do you understand? Solar is actually there to help you solve problems. From a BDM's perspective, like I mentioned in the beginning, for me, it's not just about selling solar or about telling Mr. A or even telling Dangote, for example, get solar. It's about how can I solve his problems. Now, daytime only solar plus solar with storage will give you a hybrid solution. Remember, for daytime, you get power during the day. For solar with storage, is a standalone. Then imagine a situation where you're still connected to the grid, because you need that reference, you're still connected to the grid, and then you have your battery solution. You get the best, what we call energy mix. So during the day, you get solar powers your facility directly. The same solar, the excess of it goes into charging your batteries. And then in the nighttime, you can rely on your batteries. And let's say, for example, for one case or the other, or it's time for maintenance for your batteries need maintenance or they need replacing. And there's that gap, where there's no daytime, there's no sunlight during the day, and then your batteries are undergoing maintenance or undergoing some sort of replacement. You're still able to fall back on your own grid and on your generator as backup. So having the two systems together, having your solar interconnected with your grid, interconnected with your generator, and then also having batteries gives you what we call a hybrid solution. And then you get the best of both worlds, really and truly guaranteeing you uninterrupted and reliable power. Which option is best? Which one do I go for? Chisom, which one do I now go for? I hear you, I understand it now. Which one do I go for? And really, it just depends on your energy profile. It depends on your usage. It depends on your operations, and it depends on what your goal is, what you're trying to achieve. Now, to make the best decision, there are three key steps. Three key steps when you want to, even when you just want to, when you want to power your house with anything, even before you buy a generator, you need to know roughly the amount of energy or power that the hospital, the hotel, the home will need. So you know go and buy a 500 kV generator for a house or a hospital that only needs 100 kV. So that's just going to be overspending and what we call oversizing. Or you don't buy a 500 kV generator for an industrial factory that requires 1000 kVA power, which is 1 MVA. So what are the key steps? How do I know which is best for me? First, you audit your energy needs. You assess your power priorities. So is your priority during the day or is it at night? When you check, do you use more power during the day? At night, maybe at night you only have security lights, So assess your power priorities. What are your power priorities? And then you budget for the long game. You budget for the long game. We'll get to that, but then really and truly, our minds need to shift when it comes to how we look at solar, right? Like I mentioned, particularly if you want to go for the option with storage, the upfront cost may seem quite high, but then you think about, the long haul. You budget for the long game. So if I install this now, I'm not just looking at the instant benefit, right? Or what we call instant gratification. I begin to look at it through the lens of delayed gratification. The next 3 years, 5 years, 4 years, what is truly going to be the benefit of this solution to my business? Okay. And then we tailor the solution to specific business needs. As business development managers, as a business development manager, dealing with companies that require or that are keen on going on adding solar to their energy mix, it's not, I keep telling them, it's not a one size fits all. This is what we call a bespoke solution. Bespoke solution is made to order, right? This is just by the way, when I have meetings or people come and we have conversations, I like to power my this, I like to power my that. They tell me, okay, I think I need 200 kilowatts. How much is it? I'll tell them, sir, first of all, I appreciate that you understand your business. However, I would still love to come and do my own energy assessment or audit. And I don't have a price template for 200 kilowatts, right? I can't just tell you that because the solution is going to be specific to you. I may now come and discover that you need 150 or even the 80 or that you need 300 or 500, right? So solar hybrid solutions are tailor-made, they're bespoke solutions. Primarily, above all, we need to understand the client's goal and we need to think about strategy. So it's beyond the technology. That's why I first made that disclaimer that this is not really a technical presentation, right? It's beyond the technology. It's beyond just understanding technology, but it's about strategy. So what is a plan for the business? It's about aligning, the strategy, aligning businesses, their strategy with their energy needs. So what is your strategy for the next 5 years? What do you want to achieve? Why do you think you even need the solar solution now? A business can come to me and after assessing or analyzing their energy needs, maybe a company or a business that is still under band B, for example, or band C. And I'm like, so what exactly is your goal? And people, oh goodness, permit me to say this, like I said, people, we like solar, just want energy. Someone like Chisom, I want solar that can power everything. Solar can power anything. If I didn't mention that at the beginning, forgive me, I'm mentioning it now. Solar can power any and everything. Can you carry my AC? Can you carry my boiler? I have a rice mill. Can you carry my boiler? Can you carry my industrial seat? Can you carry my industrial fan? I have compressor. It can carry everything, right? It really can carry everything. But then, like I mentioned earlier, we need to take notes of the initial investment of the capex. But thankfully, in the business space of area that we are, there are different business models now that can handle all of that, different payment plans and that, just to chip that in. So really, capex should not really be a bother for any business. So understand the client's goal. And I was going somewhere. I want to power everything. I want to do this. I say, fine, okay, let's do it. By the time we now go to site and do assessments, maybe their load is just like 30 kilowatts and they're even on band B. I'm like, I understand your enthusiasm, but what's your goal for the next 5 years? Let's see. because I want to tie whatever solution I'm going to give you to that goal and not to where you are now, to ensure that you still see significant cost savings, across the years. So remember to think strategy. Now, popular business mistakes. Somehow I feel I've already mentioned this, but just to encapsulate it so we can really identify it. I have three major ones here. Assuming that solar works the same everywhere. No, it's not a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all. And even location matters. For those of us like myself who are currently resident in the northern part of the country, we have more sun hours. The solution I would design for a client that is based in Kaduna is not the same, even though they have the exact same specific. Let's say it's the same business, the same load, the same power requirement, the same everything. What I would recommend for that client in Kaduna will not be the same as what I would recommend for a client in Port Harcourt, or even in Lagos, or in Asaba, or even Navy, because first of all, the location, the climate is different in those areas. In the northern part, we have more sun hours than in the southern part, right? So to prevent, underestimating, overestimating, or to prevent having your clients or having a business owner spend money that cannot be recovered over time, to avoid making businesses not have return on investment, right? That's why a comprehensive energy audit is advised. Now, that audit is beyond what you need to power, but also considers the environment and the location that you are. Another popular mistake is choosing based only on cost. I already mentioned that. What is your goal? And the cost may seem this one may seem cheaper now. That may not be the one you need to go for. Maybe you got two consultants. Consultant A said, I will give you this at 1 million naira. Consultant B came and said, I will give you this at 550,000 naira. I'm like, let me go for this one. But what you may not have considered is the fact that consultant B maybe only factored in the battery solution, maybe only factored in that battery carry for 1 hour a day. Maybe consultant B only factored in that they only gave you maybe 80% of the number of panels you really need to charge your battery. So you need to, what is your goal? What really are you trying to achieve? And honestly, if your goal as a business is you just want to augment your energy needs, you just want a solution that will give you an additional 1 hour, fantastic, it's fine. But if your goal is you want something that can carry you for 5 hours at night when there's no other source, that's also beautiful, fantastic. So choosing solely based on cost, is not the right way to go. And then lastly, not planning for growth. Like I gave an example before. Someone wants solar now, but I'm asking, what are you seeing in the next 5 years of your business? Is this business even still going to be in this location in the next 5 years? Do you think you're going to expand? What are your plans? What are you thinking of? What do you think? Yes, someone may say, but we're in Nigeria now. As Nigeria be, this economy said, nobody if you predict them, I understand. Let me speak Igbo. Always yoku. It's true. But then we need to consider all of that, right? A sincere business development person, a sincere solar salesperson will ask you these questions, because it's beyond just selling solar. I don't just want to give you solar, because this is not working. It's me. I won't sleep at night now. You'll be calling my phone every day. Right, so now we've understood the basics, the system, how it works. We now know that we can make mistakes. So how do we get it right? Or when we get it right, what are the benefits of getting it right? I just listed a few here. We have reduced costs. And we'll come to that. So reduce costs based on the type of solution that you want, based on your goal, what we've given you. You have reduced cost. You have operational, I think I missed a word here, operational stability. Right. Operational stability. You're able to stabilize your operation because you have one less thing to worry about, which is power. Right? So you need to worry about that your power is sorted. So you have operational stability. Predictable expenses. Now you have a comprehensive energy mix. So you're able to predict your expenses on energy on a month. Maybe on before, when you know that you don't know this month, NEPA will give you 300 hours of light. Next month, they'll give you 2 hours only. Your expenses are not predictable. It's difficult for you to forecast your energy spend. But then by integrating solar, you're really able to predict that because you have an understanding of how the system is going to work. Sustainability gains, right? I mentioned before about ESG goals, being a business that is position or put in the forefront of partaking in the net zero goal. Do you understand? You're putting your business in a global perspective. These are sustainability goals. You're able to check that box. So, my business, but I really, this is why we did this. And that's also this reputation boost. You have to say, my business is part of the people that are actively contributing to net zero goals. We have net zero goals 2030, 2060, different goals. So that's what getting it right does. Again, just to summarize, solar is not just a technical fix, but it's a business enabler. Imagine being able to predict your expenses. Your business can fly. It's not just about, it's not just about a technical fix, or it's like you're getting a 2-in-1. So they buy one, get one free. You're fixing a technical problem, energy problem, but then you're also enabling your business. So smoother operations, happier teams, and even stronger customer confidence. That's what getting it right does. It makes your operations smoother. Your teams are happy. When people come to work, they'll know maybe you have workers that run shifts. Do you understand? You have workers that run shifts, for example. Some people will not come to shift today and there's no power to run their shifts. It's somehow now. And even stronger customer confidence because you're able to deliver without stories, without calling, Mama Nkechi, sorry, but you say never know this since. You have the stronger customer confidence. Again, energy isn't just a utility, it's a backbone for growth. Now, the bigger picture, what should you be looking at? Again, looking beyond now to what's the bigger picture of this solar hybrid solution? Again, I think I've already said all of this before, but solar it's not just about cutting costs, but cutting costs is there, but it's about long-term savings, stability, and sustainability growth. When we treat solar as an expense, we may miss the value. It may just be one red line in your balance sheet. No, we need to think about solar as an investment. Think about it as an investment today for tomorrow. So you don't just buy solar, you're not just using solar, you're investing in it. You're investing in it for your business, for your facility, for today and for tomorrow. And when you're speaking to people about the solar industry and why they should consider solar, beyond the benefits, technically, it's an investment. And with every investment, you expect a return on investment, and solar gives you return on investment. It does give you a return on investment. So now, how should we think about this? We should have a mindset shift, right? We should have a mindset shift. There's a lot happening right now in the solar industry space. For those who may be familiar, there's something called net metering, right? And net metering is really something that happens when you have the daytime only solution, or the daytime only, what's the word that I'm looking for now? The daytime only package, right? So when you get solar during the day, because for that solution to work, remember, you need to be connected to your grid. I remember that one of the limitations, or one of the businesses that I mentioned that daytime only solar is beneficial for is areas that have reliable grid, right? So if your grid is stable and you have daytime only solution, in developing countries, they have something called net metering, right? What that simply means is during the day, you're able to generate power so much. If during that day, you're generating much more than you need, because it is tied to the grid, there's even an opportunity for you to feed it back to the grid so that the grid can now have more energy it can distribute to other locations. That's called net metering. And recently, I think just last month, actually, NEC had brought out, this policy about net metering. I must say, I don't think the industry took it quite well. People had different thoughts on how this is going to work right now. How can we be talking about net metering in Nigeria when we don't even have reliable grid? How can I feed back what I'm generating from my business to a grid that is broken or a grid that is not working? So there are conversations there, but I put all of this here so we need to think the mindset shift. So when you're thinking about the types of solar solution, you think possibilities. We need to get it because we're getting there. I mean, for NEC to begin to think or talk about this, that means this is something that's going to eventually happen. And to be good to position ourselves, or to consider, put ourselves in the position to benefit from all of this. Now, we talk about carbon credits. I mentioned quite a number of times sustainability goals, sustainability goals. Beyond just the technical benefits to you as a business person, the what we call carbon credits in the market now. What are carbon credits? This is revenue that you get from being green. We have a global goal of reducing greenhouse gases. So industries, facilities, or factories that are contributing to this net zero goal, like I mentioned before, that are contributing to reducing our carbon footprint. There are now incentives. You can now sell your carbon credits to get additional revenue for your business. So these are the things, net zero opportunities as a business person. Net zero opportunities, lots of funding and financing in the market now for businesses or industries that are propelling or propagating or that are actively involved in reducing our greenhouse gases, right? I added here just Energy Acts of 2023. So this is something that Tinubu signed in 2023 that has mandated or has a mandate for discos, ADC, PHP, Port Harcourt Disco, Echo Disco, Ikeja Disco, Enugu Disco, Kano, Kaduna Disco, Just Disco, all the Edo Disco, all the discos you can think of, Benin, all of them, they need to have a certain percentage of their energy, coming from renewables, solar inclusive, right? So these are all the things that are happening within the industry. So you want to position yourself as a business, position yourself as an individual, right? There's lots of growth in the sector. So just to quickly summarize before I say my thank yous and I hope I've not eaten too much into my presentation time. I'll just wrap up now, just to quickly summarize, right? So now we've gone through solar solutions, hybrid solutions, the basics, the different types, how to reach, choosing the right type, common mistakes that are made in choosing the type of solar solution, what are the benefits and advantages of getting it right, the bigger picture, beyond just solving a power problem now. What's the bigger picture? How do you position your business, position yourself, on the global scale, global market, position, the bigger picture, and then the mindset shift, the things that are really coming up, and how businesses can benefit. Imagine reducing your energy spend and also earning money just by doing that. And that's why I said before that we need to think beyond cost, beyond that initial investment. When it comes to making a decision on the kind of solution that we want to embark on. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. So we can just go straight into the Q&A session. But thank you so much, and we'll just take the questions now.
Thank you very much, Chisom. Thank you so much for such an insightful and eye-opening session. You've done an excellent job. You did an excellent job in, breaking down the complexities of solar hybrid systems and its connection to, business value, creating real business value and growth generally. So before we go into the questions in the chat box, you had mentioned earlier during the session that you wanted to speak on one particular question, and I had that question too. So the question was, if you're running, the daytime only solar and you're with your grid concurrently, how do you save cost?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. And that's a very popular question. I can't even count the number of times, but I have this question really thrown out. And I also had this question as well the first time I learned about the daytime only solution. So how do you save costs? So imagine this. So to not even complicate things, just imagine that you have your business in a place that your grid supply is stable. So you have 100% grid availability, no interruptions, no nothing, right? So your facility, everything is powered by your grid solution. Let's assume that is Nigeria, the future Nigeria, right? And say you're on the band A. Let's take it for example now, and you're paying 209 naira per kilowatt hour. Before you were paying maybe 73 naira, and then all of a sudden, 209 naira. How much increase is that? So your energy cost has gone up. And now you want to incorporate solar. So because your grid is stable, which is such an advantage, and you're operating as well, just even during the daytime, you don't need power for night or anything. So I'll now come to you and say, you're complaining, Chisom, my cost is high. Oh, I don't know. I was like, okay, have you considered, and I'll ask you questions, what's your grid like here? They don't take light in this place, it's very good. Maybe only when the grid goes down. It's okay, no problem. It's like, what are you currently spending? I'm on band A now. What other band would I be on? Oh, wow. In a month, you're spending like 10 million naira. I bring my solar solution. Now, because my daytime only solution is just Again, it doesn't have the most expensive components. I'm taking my time to explain this so you see how this comes in. It doesn't have the most expensive component, which is the batteries, right? So the cost of the solar of the data money solution is actually guaranteed, right? At this point in time, I can really say this, unless maybe things change, but at this point in time, is actually guaranteed to be cheaper than what you're currently spending on band A, right? And I mentioned something about, oh, we have different business models now. So if you have the bulk money, because most times this question comes in when we don't really get this question for people who just want to buy solar outrightly. That's a different conversation. So we have different business model. So if you're looking to get on what we call, I'm just realizing that, this area is actually quite broad. The more I want to answer a question, I'm thinking about other things that, it'd be good to talk about. So there are actually different business models now. And from my experience, one business model I'll mention that is what we call energy as a service, or even what we call a lease to own model. So you want to get that solar, right? And you want to get that either on a lease to own model or an energy as a service model. For an energy as a service model, I can almost say right now, particularly with the band A users, that the tariff you will pay for your solar, right, is going to be less than what you're currently spending on band A. So before, in your day, if you had to do 200, let's make it round numbers, assume band A is 100 naira. If you had to spend 100 naira per hour for 10 hours, that's 10,000 naira, right? No, that's 1,000 naira. Okay, but then now I'm bringing you my solar and saying that this solar is 80 naira per kilowatt hour, right? So now for 10 hours, you're going to spend 80 times 10, which is 800. So you're saving 200 naira every 10 hours. Okay, so that's typically how you save money. Okay, I know it's like how you told me I'll save money. I'm going from one source of power to two sources. Normally, when you multiply something, your cost should go up, but that's not entirely the case. Okay, even if you decide to go for a lease to own, where you're going to give where you're going to pay you're going to pay a flat rate every month. If in a month on your band A, you have to spend 1 million naira, I can confidently tell you that with a data money solution, again, you probably spend just 800,000 naira flat rate. And your solar and your grid supply, sorry, is stable. So those hours, rather than you getting 100% of your energy supplied from the grid, now you'll be getting a percentage, let's say just about 20% from the grid, maybe times cloudy days or cloudy moments. But then if you're able to power, the same number of hours with the solar solution only, you can see where the savings lies, right? Rather than spending 100 naira flat line during the day, now you have the solar hybrid solution where you're going to spend 80 naira, during the day. I'll be honest and say that this explanation I gave is like a summary. There's a more detailed explanation if you want to go into it in terms of sun hours, number of different hours of the day, how it's really calculated, and all of that. But then the primary thing now is, as we are in Nigeria, band A solar right now, there's actually significant savings when you go for the data only solution. I don't know. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much, Chisom. So there are more questions in the chat box, but we don't have enough time. I guess the question that Safinat, your explanation has answered the two questions that Safinat has. And also, I think you already answered Safina's question. She's asking what components are required for the daytime only, and you had mentioned that
Okay.
during your explanation. Abu says that when generators are running in your daytime only solution, how can you convince me that solar plus fuel will result in savings? You already answered that too. I think major questions have been answered by your explanation. So thank you very much. Thank you so much, Chisom. Seeing that solar is beyond a technical innovation, but also a wise business strategy plan. So thank you very much. If you feel like there was somebody that was supposed to be here but couldn't make it, you can send them the recording. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Chisom, for honoring our invite. We hope that everyone here is living inspired and they'll, make wise solar decisions from today onward. So have a great day. Thank you very much. Keep thinking energy. Keep thinking renewables. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, everyone.